Hello and welcome to Tap That MTG show, the show where we tell you everything we know about magic. It's probably wrong, but fun to talk about anyway.
Might be right today.
Might be right today.
We
have
have
a special guest.
Yeah.
We have Brad here with us tonight.
Brad is the
store champion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Store champion at Pandora's Books. And what are we talking about today?
Before I tell them who we are. Who are we? I'm Shawna.
Yes.
I'm Leslie.
I'm Brad again.
We got so excited about Brad being here.
Guest here. Wow. Okay. We're going to talk about
In the
some
presence of greatness.
Yes. We're going to talk about some of our decks that we've been playing and some of the changes that we're going to make because of the War of the Spark stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we start with?
What
today?
what format are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about standard because there's only one format in Magic.
Yeah, only standard. That's it. It's the best format.
People play Modern and
What?
Commander. Brawl. I don't know.
Maybe.
Brawl.
Anyone out there?
Brawl is Brawl a thing?
I don't know. They want it to be a thing.
They wanted it to
I
be
think
a
it would be
thing.
fun.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So yes, we're talking about Standard and how we're shaking it up for War of the Spark.
Mm-hmm.
So Leslie, what deck are you going to talk about, and what changes have you made?
Well, my deck is the most amazing deck that we're going to talk about today. So after my little spiel, feel free to stop watching. No, you have
That's
to get
how
to
it
the
goes.
end because
Yeah.
we have a little special thing that
It's not
Brad's
very
going to do
nice.
for us.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, Leslie, that was off camera.
Family. So I play Boros, and I play lots of decks, but the deck that I'm excited about right now with War of the Spark is my Boros aggro. And basically, I have my strategy that I was playing before War of the Spark was more around creature beatdown, get as many creatures out as possible, playing things like History of Benalia and Tajik and Boros Challenger and heroic reinforcements and just killing them really, really fast. But I've changed it up a little bit. I have taken advantage of some of the new cards. The first one is Feather the Redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
Super awesome card. Have either of you been playing with that one?
I have not played with it, but I've seen it beat me down. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
No, Boros sucks, so I don't use that.
Well,
I'm kidding. No, I have not played with Feather the Redeemed.
so Feather the Redeemed is a 3/4 flyer for 2 white and a red, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets the creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard, and then as the spell resolves, if you do, then you can return it to your hand at the beginning of your next end step. So basically, you cast it that turn and you get it back at the end of the turn, which is fantastic. Even better, Dreadhorde Arcanist. It is a 1/3 trample, which seems super small until you cast some sprint on it twice in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So love that one. Sometimes I am lucky enough to get it out on turn 2, and then turn 3 I cast some sprint on it, and then that returns to my hand and I cast it again, and I have a 5/7 trample, and I get to scry twice, which is wonderful.
Very nice.
Those are some of my cards. So of course, I guess the difference now is that I have to think more about spells rather than just creatures.
Right.
Because a lot of those cards, 10th District Legionnaire is another one that when you target it, so it's focused a little bit more on buffing up. So I've added Defiant Strike and Samut Sprint as kind of my main spells that I try to bring back to my hand. And of course, some of the main staples. So maybe we'll post our deck lists down below.
Yeah, we can do that.
So you guys can see the full deck list, but those are kind of my cards.
Cool.
Sounds good. Sounds like it should be a lot of fun.
It is super fun.
Good.
I'm not platinum yet, like some people.
What?
But
Well,
I'm
I'll
working
tell
on
you
it.
what I've been doing to get that far.
Oh, yeah.
With
Do
my
share.
deck. So my deck is a Celestia deck, and before it was a lot about getting a whole bunch of little 1/1s and just running them over. But I was getting really tired of Cry of the Carnarium in particular. Was really ticking me off because it's really I should be able to defend against something like that. So it's a minus.
Well, and I
two,
think
minus
we
two.
all have trouble with that, right?
Yeah.
Like Brad, your deck has
There's a fair amount of token strategy involved in my deck as well.
So I took advantage of the new old mechanic, proliferate, and
we learned how to say that last
I
time.
know. So a lot of my cards have that capability. In particular, I love Pledge of Unity. I've talked about that card before, and it's my favorite because out of nowhere, all of a sudden, I'm buffing up all my creatures, and I'm also gaining life. So I used that card, and then I brought back good old Shawna from Dominaria. Because she's
Shawna.
awesome. And so she gets +1/+1 for each creature that's out. So she suddenly becomes a big girl that they got to deal with. So in some way.
So Shawna, she gets +1/+1 for each creature that's out.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we tell our viewers, for those of you that are unsure or just haven't learned that yet, what's the difference between a 1/1 counter that you can proliferate and a +1/+1?
Yes. So the 1/1 counters stay there no matter what, pretty much. Whereas the +1/+1 is only based on any sort of condition. So in her case, it's if there's other creatures. For some people, it's just a temporary thing. Some cards, it's just a temporary thing. These are people to me.
Mm-hmm.
These are people. Shauna's real.
So if Shawna has +1/+1, let's say you have +3/+3 because you have 3 creatures, and you go to proliferate, can you proliferate her?
No, I can't proliferate her unless she has a counter.
She doesn't have, because they're not counters.
They're not counters. Had to do that with my Merfolk deck quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I also, in my main board, I also have a Johnny the Great-Hearted, again because of that putting counters on everything, and I really like being able to have vigilance on my creatures.
Don't we all?
That's a really big thing. And then I do sideboard in Prison Realm because Prison Realm and Planeswalkers, I want to get rid of them, and the Wanderer has saved me so many times in matchups against those big beasts.
Yeah, I've actually considered putting the Wanderer in mine as well. I think I tried it a little bit. It's a little slow, but gosh.
Yeah, she does a lot of work when she comes out. And then the proliferate affects her.
I was playing against Red Deck Wins this morning, and he was very mad when I put the Wanderer down.
Yeah, the Wanderer really stalls out those red burn decks just because it prevents all the non-combat damage that we dealt. So any of the lightning strikes, the shocks, any type of burn to the face or the creatures, it just stops it dead. They just become dead cards in your hand.
Well, that's a good point, Brad, about red burn or kind of considering what other people are playing. Do you consider that a lot?
Yeah, I consider a lot about what other people are playing. You really have to think about the board sweeps, the Cries of Carnarium, Cleansing Nova. Cleansing Nova is a really difficult one to get around just because it's not conditional. Mm-hmm. It just destroys everything no matter how big or small it is. Cry of the Carnarium just gives out the -2/2 to everything. So as long as your creatures are 3 or bigger, then you're pretty safe. But the Cleansing Nova is extremely tough to play against.
So a lot of people refer to that as like knowing the meta. So if you've ever heard know the meta or what's the meta, they're talking about what's being played right now. So how do you guys know the meta? What do you do to learn what's being played?
Play Arena.
That's a good thing,
Yeah, play Arena.
So you play against other people?
Friday Night Magic, play in events for sure, and definitely watching videos. And
watching videos helps a lot.
Every Monday morning, my husband and I we're a bunch of Magic nerds. We look at what the pros were playing on the weekend.
That's a huge indication as to what's actually going to be big in the meta lately, especially with the new cards coming out here or out last week. So it changes every few months, especially in Standard, which I really personally love. So.
Well, and I think some of the podcasts that I've listened to just about Standard, first week of Standard, because it's been kind of just 1 week since the thing. Standard hasn't changed a lot as far as the meta goes yet, but with things like what we're talking about, I think it's going to gradually change over the next couple of weeks as people start gathering their cards.
Yeah.
So, anything else with your deck, Shawna? Sorry, I butted in with that.
No, that's all I wanted to bring up. I think Raj should tell us about his amazing deck.
Okay.
What the main event now?
Yes.
The main event.
Brad.
Wow, they're building me up so much.
Teach us a wise one.
So my deck is just a revamp of the old Black White Knights deck. So I've taken out a lot of the Knights and added in a whole slew of Planeswalkers, including the new Liliana Dreadhorde General. which is great because whenever a creature you control dies, you get to draw a card. Her +1 ability is great. You get to make a zombie out of it. Her -2, -4, you make everyone sack 2 creatures, which is great for you because you get to draw 2 cards off of it and you get to clear 2 creatures off your opponent's field.
Yes. Very nice.
One of the other planeswalkers that I've added into the deck is Sorin, and Sorin is just straight up awesome. He's forecasting to a black and a white, and he gives all your creatures lifelink, which is a huge advantage over your opponent.
So if you're playing red deck wins or red burn, Tibalt.
Yeah, Tibalt really does some damage, but there are ways in the deck to get rid of other planeswalkers, obviously, and ways to protect your own with Oath of Kaya. You like that transition?
Yeah,
Nice.
that was a great
That's good.
transition.
That's nice.
I feel like you're
Really
upset
good.
with this.
Yeah. So Oath of Kaya. Oath of Kaya, when she comes out, she does 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. But it also has the ability that whenever your opponent swings at one of your planeswalkers with anything, they lose 2 life and you gain 2 life. So if they actually attack with 2 creatures, they're going to lose 4 life and you're going to gain 4 life.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And all this life gain is really going to help you when you pop out your Dreadhorde Invasions.
Yeah.
So which is a massive beginning of your turn, and you lose a life. So you get a token, or you pump up some of your stuff, but you lose a life. But with all this life you're gaining, it really
Doesn't
negates
matter.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you really, if you're playing Dreadhorde Invasion, you have to play it with some kind of life gain. I've had it in my hand before with like a red-black deck, or I've been trying to play like a blue-black amass deck, and I've had it out. But if I have taken any damage and don't have any way to gain life, then I'm like, oh, I don't want to play that because now I'm down to 7, and I don't think that's going to win me the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it can be a little tough to make that one fire off. I mean, if you have a lot of amass in your deck, then that can work out a little more to your advantage, seeing as whenever you have a zombie token that's 6 power or greater, it swings in with lifelink.
Right.
So-
Yeah. That's true. I
but-
forgot about that piece.
but-
Yeah.
If your only way of amassing is through Dreadhorde Invasion, you're gonna have a really rough time because you're gonna be waiting 6 turns for your opponent to kind of beat you down,
Yeah.
and hopefully you still have that one zombie
Right.
token out there. It's not likely that's gonna happen.
I kill people's zombie tokens like almost immediately.
They can get out of hand.
Maybe
very
when
fast.
they get to
Yeah.
like I can let them get to 3, but then I'm like, no, can't have an ad anymore.
Yeah, they can get out of hand extremely fast.
Awesome.
So
Well, that's what we're playing. Those are our personal decks. So if you liked what you heard today, or have any suggestions of your own that you'd like to share with us, what are you playing in Standard? What are the new cards that you've added to your deck? What have you taken out of your deck? Definitely comment or subscribe or share this video. That would be great. And in the meantime,
Tap those magic cards and have fun doing it. Tap those magic cards and have fun doing it. Bye, guys.
see ya.
oh,
That was great.